strategic move that Eddie is making for AJ? Why are you not thinking, let's get him set up for
kind of animal?
if
That was years and years and years ago. Like, Clarissa is a way different fighter from when she was back in.
Thanks to those joining me live and to those that will be joining me on our
defenses that she's had to have recently. You know, she's pulled people.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the RoundTable about tribalism. I don't think tribalism is necessarily bad. I just don't think it has to be.
I don't know what he think he sees or what he think he know. But he going to the hospital, bro. Like, bro, you not winning that fight.
You guys mentioned, I think, D-Style, you mentioned him versus Regis program. I'd love that. Sounds like a...
I don't need you, you know, and PBC and others, in my opinion, it's like, oh, this is my guy. Like, there's a relationship.
Flat out, it's tough, and we call box, and we go to the end of the round, and then...
That would say, what do you mean by acting black? That's a fair question, but a participant of trash talk knows.
And they're announcing a fight 3-4 months from now. And he ain't going to fight. I bet you anything. He's not going to fight somebody as good as John Ryder. And look at that. Who's actually going to be fighting this coming weekend, John Ryder. But with that said, thanks to everybody joining us live. And to those that will be joining us here on Archive. Hit the like button if you're listening on the Archive, by the way. Share this video on all your social media platforms. Retweet it, all that good stuff. Shout out to everybody from Twitter. Let's go ahead and get this one started. This last weekend, there was a fight. Zepeda fought in a fight that literally nobody really cared about, right? A pretty one-sided affair. So I don't really want to touch on that, but it's related to his promoter. All right, Oscar De La Hoya right now. Recently lost Canelo. Not recently, but about two and a half years ago, lost Canelo. Recently lost Seniesa Estrada. Vergil Ortiz, who knows what's going on with him? They didn't even know that Zurdo Ramirez was almost like 20 pounds or whatever it was, 12 pounds over the weight limit. All right, there's rumors that Ryan may be leaving. They're moving with Mungia with such care. I mean, it's crazy how they don't even want to put him in there with some. Finally, he's going to fight Derevyanchenko, so that's a start. Wland Zepeda. I mean, they're taking care of him for some reason. I don't know what's going on with Goldenboy. And most importantly, they lost their matchmaker. All right. And shout out to Chauncey Pros joining us now as well. They lost their matchmaker, Roberto Diaz. You don't have money to pay a matchmaker. Is this signs that Goldenboy is going to fall apart and go away at some point? Or does De La Hoya have some type of comeback in him, right? Can he turn his company around? Joe Beeb, let's start with you.
I don't really think the onus is on Oscar because he's never really been there full time. He's always kind of been in and out. I think Eric Gomez is the person that can and has been holding it together. And I'm not willing to pull the plug on them yet. I think that they still have some good young fighters. I like Mungia. I like Ortiz. I like Zepeda. I believe they still have Esparza too, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And they got a few young and up and comers. They still got Blair Cobbs, right? Entertaining Blair Cobbs.
That's right.
So, and they still have the platform deal with DAZN. So they've lost a little bit of stride, but I don't think it's time to stick the fork in them just yet.
Okay. All right. You don't think like what's with the handling with care that they're doing with Wland Zepeda, with Mungia? What do you think that's about?
I think Zepeda will fight anybody, so I think he's just having a hard time getting fights. The whole situation with Mungia is definitely questionable. The Derevyanchenko fight is a step in the right direction, so hopefully after that they can position him into a title fight with Janibek, something like that. But like I said, that's a step in the right direction with Derevyanchenko, so hopefully they can keep it moving off of that fight.
For sure.
Keep going in the right direction.
Absolutely. Nando Llamas, he says, go Dubs. How's it going, man? Shout out to you. Thank you for the support. Lyndon, do you think Goldenboy Promotion has seen its best days? Or do you think he'll make a comeback?
On current form in the last probably 2, 3, 4 years, you probably have to say yes. I just worry sometimes about Oscar's dedication to sport now. It's been around a long time, in a lot of big fights, whether it's a fighter or a promoter. there's no doubt they've obviously dropped the pecking order behind Matchroom, Top Rank, and with the others out there. But yeah. Look, maybe the only way for Goldenboy going forward is to maybe sell it to someone else, or maybe they can regenerate it, or whoever, or absorbed into someone else. I know, but you know, it's a fact that Goldenboy has been largely irrelevant for the last years, and if they lose Garcia, who knows what will happen after that. I mean, they've got those good underlay fighters, those you'd call them, come through, but they haven't got that super. If they lose Garcia, I'll be worried about where Goldenboy in the future. So let's hope not, because we're involved in some of the big fights last couple of decades. But at the moment, in my opinion, it doesn't look good for Goldenboy.
All right. Low, talk to us. Is this the signs of things to come, or does the Goldenboy have another run left in him? Can he make a comeback here as a promoter?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it has been not a fun time over at Goldenboy right now. There has been a lot of shakeups, as you said. The matchmaker, he's out. Rumors of Ryan Garcia leaving as well. I mean, yeah, they lost Seniesa Estrada, but I mean, like you said, they still have Garcia as of now. They have Zepeda, Mungia, Ortiz, and there's still big fights for them in their future. And let's also not forget that this is Olympic trials qualifying year. Not everyone's making the Olympic trials, but there are still boxers who are going to have amazing pro careers who Goldenboy currently has their eye on. And of course, no one's going to know who those people are, but there's rumbles. We hear about it. And so maybe this current generation they have, maybe that's not who is going to be their stars, or maybe not, they may be stars, but not theirs. But there's a new generation coming in. And this, if they are having going through a storm right now, this is the perfect time to do it, right before the Olympic trials, because that is when that new crop of amateurs coming in, very hungry to make their statements, make their debuts in the pros. So, I mean, I'm not going to count them out just yet.
All right. Making his debut to the roundtable, the one and the only Chauncey Pearls in the building. How you doing, brother?
How are you, man? Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, because I think my audio is the thing that's giving the echo here. It's my first time even running an audio thing like this. But first and foremost, man, thank you so much for having me, man. Full disclosure, I don't have a boxing YouTube channel. I don't report on boxing, but I do consider myself a hardcore casual fan, and I'm a fan of what you guys do. Definitely been following you guys for a little bit now, and but yeah, as far as Goldenboy, no, I don't think it's the end. However, I do feel that there needs to be some changes, and in my opinion, I really believe that Oscar should probably think about falling back, taking a step back, maybe appointing somebody that can concentrate and focus full time on promoting. I think that right now, De La Hoya is really more concerned in promoting see-through Versace shirts, and you know what I'm saying, cosmetic, whatever he's getting in, and he's not really like invested in his fighters, and he has a stable of young, exciting fighters still. I think Kid Austin signed with them. Is he still? Do you know, D-Cell?
Yes.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Kid Austin. So he has a good stable, and I just think that maybe appointing someone like kind of like a not Al Heyman, like a Leonard Ellerby kind of style dude or something like that to help promote. But I think it's time for De La Hoya to kind of take a step back, having someone to promote his fighters. And yeah, I don't think it's the end, but I definitely think that there needs to be some changes for sure.
Yeah, look, man, I here's what I'm seeing. I'm looking at, when I see Oscar De La Hoya and the moves he makes, he reminds me of that poker player that has very limited chips left, and he's moving like it, right? Like it's time to put, because Zepeda had an opportunity to fight Shakur Stevenson. They didn't want to do that fight. And I don't understand why they're moving with him so gently, because Zepeda's an action fighter anyway. He's not someone you need undefeated. He's somebody you need in front of eyeballs. And win, lose, or draw, people will show up to watch a dude that throws 1,500 punches a fight. They're going to show up, wins or draw, right? Mungia, another guy. He should be promoting Mungia as someone like the way Arturo Gatti was promoted, a guy who's exciting to watch. You want to watch the fight of the night, come watch Mungia. That's not how they're promoting him, right? And I'm looking at these arenas are half empty. How do you have a half empty arena in Texas with a dude that fights like that? You're not doing the groundwork, Oscar. Like you're not doing the proper promoting here. Something is wrong here, right? So whatever they need to do, one, they need to get a matchmaker ASAP. Getting rid of Roberto Diaz was a mistake, in my opinion. And they need to start making some moves. And what Ryan was a step in the right direction. Ryan didn't win, but I mean, they could still do something with him. But we'll see where everything goes. But hopefully we get some big moves from Goldenboy soon, because with the way DAZN is now going to start working with other promoters, they may phase them out. And if they do that, then what does Goldenboy have, right? So that's that. Let's go ahead and talk about this upcoming weekend in Mexico. Canelo's hometown, Akron Stadium. I believe that's where the Chivas play, right? We're going to get to the main event. But first, let's talk about an undercard fight. Stevie Spark versus Gabriel Valenzuela. I wonder, guys, just quick prediction here. They both have a common opponent in Montana Love. So we'll go ahead and get this started. Lyndon, let's start with you, brother.
Yeah, look, it's a big weekend, obviously, for us Australians. In the start of a couple of weeks, of course, Maloney brothers on in the next couple of weeks. Got Jason on next weekend and Andrew the week after on the Lomachenko Haney card. It's a big couple of weeks for Australian boxing. And look, Stevie Spark, you see, he had the we'll call Montana Love qualification. But I think what it did show was that.
Hey, Lyndon.
Yes,
I don't mean to interrupt, but you have like a double echo, so I'm not sure why.
How's that? I'm not quite sure what's happening here.
I don't keep going. I think you're good now.
Well, so we go anyway. But yeah, look, Stevie Sparky can't fight. He's hard as nails. He's got the same trainer as Michael.
Unfortunately, I apologize. You're still getting it. Try this. Try exiting the StreamYard and coming back on. That should fix it.
Okay. Yep. No drama. All right.
All right. In the meantime, we'll get Lyndon back on because I do want his take on this fight. So, Joe, quick prediction on this fight, brother.
It's a tough one. They both had really hard fights with Montana Love. I thought Stevie Spark was kind of edging it before the disqualification, and he really got in Montana Love's chest and made it a real rough and tumble, rugged fight. And I think this could be a rough and tumble, rugged fight as well. Both guys are kind of scrappy. They're physical. They're tall and long, but they like to fight, in the pocket. They like to go chest to chest. So it's tough because Stevie Spark's the away guy here, and the close rounds could go the other way in this one because the crowd's going to be behind. They're going to be behind Valenzuela. So I could see myself having Stevie Spark winning the fight, but maybe him not getting the decision. But I'm just going to go with how I would see it. I think Stevie Spark's a little quicker. I think he's a little bit more fluid with his punches. I think he's a little bit more aggressive, and I think he has a bit more volume. I think he will outwork Valenzuela, and I think he'll grind out a decision here.
Okay, all right. Lyndon, let's try again.
Can you hear me okay? I've switched microphones.
It's perfect.
Perfect, yeah.
My normal computer. But I don't know how much of it you heard before, but as I said, it's a big couple of weeks for Australian boxing with this weekend and then the Maloney boys. But look, I think, as I said before, Stevie Spark, trained by Brendan Smith, who trained Michael Caceres, they breed him pretty tough out of that gym, and he'll come to fight. And look, even though Valenzuela's had he's had the fight with Love, and he's talented, I think Stevie Spark has the tools to get it done. It will be, I suppose, pretty daunting for him. He's going to be in the lion's den, as they say, in Mexico. But one thing I think you've found with Stevie Spark, this is a guy that fought Tim Tszyu on a week's notice, went up 2 divisions to fight Tim Tszyu. Of course, the Montana Love went to his backyard. So this guy doesn't care who he fights and when. So I think he'll give a really good performance. I think he'll get the job done over Valenzuela. It'll be a tough fight. I think it'll be a very, very crowd-pleasing fight, but we'll back our man Stevie Spark to get the win by a hard-fought unanimous decision.
Okay, all right. Chauncey Pearls. You have a quick prediction for this fight?
Yeah, man. Sorry about that, but I can't hear anything. Can you guys hear me?
I could hear, yes.
Yeah, I can't hear you guys. And if I turn on this, let me try to figure out the audio. I'll come back. Come back to me.
No problem. All right, low. Stevie Spark, Australian, over there in the backyard of Valenzuela. Who's going to win this fight?
You know, I just want to say, like, I need to give this guy his flowers, Steve Spark, because he's taken a page out of Usyk's playbook, out of Alicia Baumgartner's playbook, I guess you could say too. Going into the backyard of his opponents, first with Montana Love, let's start there. He was in his backyard, and Montana Love had just Cleveland behind him, and I'm sure most of Ohio. But you're going to Mexico, you've got the whole country behind your opponent. So he's got to feel the weight of that. However, I think, Joe, you and I feel like we see boxing through very similar eyes, because a lot of the things you were saying were things that I was thinking as well.
Yeah.
I don't think that the hometown pressure thing is going to get to him. I think he's kind of already proven that. But yeah, I definitely think that Steve is going to win. Now, whether the judges score in that favor, I don't know. But usually when I say someone's going to win, that's not really going to reflect what the judges say, just reflect what actually happens. So.
Okay, all right. Chauncey Pearls, can you hear us now?
Yeah. Is there any echo, whatever?
No, we're good.
Okay, good. What was the question, man?
Okay, so Stevie Spark, Valenzuela on the undercard. If you have a prediction on that, really quick.
Stevie Spark. Oh yeah. Okay, so yeah. Man, Stevie Sparks really surprised me with Montana Love, man. He had a good game plan. You know, like the way that he throws his punches, he keeps a nice tight guard. Valenzuela kind of reminds me of Sergio Martinez kind of style. Kind of drops his hands. They both have decent power. You know, and with the Montana Love thing, with what's his name, I think it was just frustration, you know, after that headbutt that he got, and he obviously threw him out the ring. All bad for Montana Love. But I think that on this fight, man, I think it's a pretty close fight. I would favor probably Valenzuela a little bit, maybe because of the power. But I think it's going to be a good fight, and yeah, I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, it should definitely be a good fight. Look, I went back to watch the Valenzuela fight with Montana Love. I actually felt Montana Love dropped him early. It was like a flash knockdown, but I don't know. I felt like the fight could have gone either way by the end of the fight when I was watching it. And I think Valenzuela could have maybe pressed the action a lot more. But maybe that knockdown threw him off. I'm not sure. Montana Love definitely overwhelmed Montana Love. And Montana Love kind of looked confused, and maybe he wasn't expecting what happened in that fight. I think he looked overwhelmed, and he just the moment got to him kind of. And I just don't think that's going to happen to Valenzuela. I think this is going to be, I believe, a very, very good action-packed fight. Don't miss this fight, by the way. If you buy the paper, you might as well watch this fight. But here's the issue I have. So Canelo talked about it took him a week to adjust to the elevation, right? And now I know it's a different fight, but it's the same stadium, right? It's the same location. So we know Valenzuela, we know he's used to that elevation. This is his backyard. This is where he's from, right? I don't know if Stevie Sparks can be ready for it. Now, I know that there's ways to train, to prepare for that stuff anyway, but I need to consider that. I need to consider the crowd. I need to consider the energy from the crowd. Also, Stevie Spark is he could get very aggressive, and Valenzuela is a really good counterpuncher, right? Who could crack? I got Valenzuela by stoppage in this fight. Late stoppage. I think he's going to stop a very game Stevie Spark. regardless who wins, I do believe it's going to end by stoppage. I don't think it's going to go decision. But I'm going to go with Valenzuela in a war, in a hell of a fight. I can't wait to see it. Calix, how's it going?
Good to be here with everybody.
You have a quick prediction for Valenzuela, Stevie Spark?
I love this fight. God, I love this fight because it's two guys in the same, around the same age, same point in their career. It's a fight that makes complete sense, and quality losses, right? Is Stevie Spark pulled off the upset in the last fight. They have a common opponent. Valenzuela lost to Montana Love, but at the same time, his knockout loss was to William Zepeda early in his career, and Stevie Spark to Tim Tszyu. I mean, quality losses. So all things being even, I would agree with you. Like I would actually give the edge to Spark. But with everything going on in Mexico and guys wanting to show out over there, and these big cards don't happen often down there, I got to give the slight edge to Valenzuela. But I think that's the reason he's a slight favorite. He's minus 150 favorite. Spark is plus 125, I believe. So other than that, it's a toss-up. I don't have a good feeling on who's going to win this. I'm just going to sit back, have my beer, and enjoy. It's a beautiful fight.
That's true. I was just trying to figure out why Montana Love didn't headline WrestleMania after he tossed out and won the Royal Rumble. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what happened with that, but I guarantee that will not happen in this fight. I think this is going to be an action fight. And Valenzuela loves to fight. So if Stevie brings it, he brings it. So it's going to be interesting. And I think it's going to be a crowd-pleasing fight. Let's talk about the main event of that evening, okay? Canelo Alvarez will be fighting John Ryder. Usually Mexican fighters make the trip to the UK, or they meet in neutral grounds in the US, which is really an advantage to the Mexican fighter because of Mexican-American fight fans here. But nonetheless, usually we're being used to seeing the British fighters fight the Mexicans over there in their grounds, right? Like with Mauricio Lara, for example, right? Venado Lopez. Like we're used to seeing the Mexicans go over there. Now, we have John Ryder is going to go to Mexico. John Ryder is going to go fight the best Mexican of them all in Mexico, in his hometown, right? In front of his people, with that energy. He's going to be in the middle of that ring. He's probably going to watch. John Ryder's going to have front row seat to the extravagant. I don't know what the hell they're going to do with that entrance, right? And it's going to be a moment. I know John Ryder was saying, "Oh, this is nothing I never seen before." Oh, believe me, you never seen what you're about to see. John Ryder, I guarantee you never experienced what you're about to experience, because you're going to be in front of a rowdy Mexican fan base who loves their champion, right? And I haven't checked, but if somebody checked, I'm sure Ryder has a pair of steel balls, because for him to go out there, okay, to face Canelo in Canelo's hometown, in that elevation, with that energy from the crowd, is something else. And Ryder's going out, he's saying everything. Oh, I think the judges are going to be fair. I don't know about that. I think my chances are good. Like, but he's also saying, I heard an interview said, let's be fair, Canelo's slowing down. I don't think Canelo's the same guy he was 2 years ago, right? So John Ryder's been here before in terms of being the underdog, but has he been here before with what he's about to experience? I don't think he has, okay? Low, can John Ryder go the distance here? Can he pull off the upset? How do you see this fight?
Well, I mean, like you said, I have to give Ryder his flowers for even doing that. There's a lot of big names that Canelo has fought in the past that would have never agreed to those conditions, that would have never went to Canelo's hometown and fought him there. So, I mean, props to him for doing that, number one. Number two, though, I mean, I'm not excited about him as the opponent. Now, I mean, it's interesting to me that he took the fight, like I just said, but as an opponent, I'm kind of neutral about it. What I am excited for are the things that you had mentioned, like the energy that's going to be in that stadium, and his fan base, and how he's going to perform in his hometown. But I mean, I feel like Canelo is going to is going to win by stoppage or knockout, however, however he comes that night. But I don't want to, also don't want to take away from Ryder like that. I feel like kind of disrespectful saying that. So I mean, I do think he's going to give a valiant effort. I don't think he's going to come to lay down. I think he's definitely coming to fight for sure. And it's going to be, it'll have its entertaining moments. I think I would just, you're going to get more excitement out of me if we get Canelo and Benavidez, really.
We got people in the chat saying 0 chance. They're giving Ryder a 0 chance to even go to distance. Lyndon, do you co-sign that? You think he can go to distance or no?
Well, firstly, like everyone, you've got to give props to Ryder for going to Mexico. And I must admit, even though we've probably been waiting to see Canelo fight in a big fight in Mexico, I was quite surprised he didn't take the opportunity to fight Ryder in England. He's made no secret over the years he would love to fight in the UK, and he probably would have drawn 50, 60, 70,000 people over there. So, but either way, as I said, props to Ryder for taking this fight in Mexico. But I've got to agree with everyone in the chat that I don't really give him a chance to win, but I think he might actually surprise a lot of people with his durability. Maybe he's got some okay skills. He punches okay. He's got good hand speed. Canelo's probably going to want to put on a show for his hometown, or not the hometown, his home country. So I think this might surprise a few people, and he might actually go the distance. On paper, you would say that Canelo wins his fight by stoppage at some point, but I think Ryder might surprise people, and this fight might actually go the distance. But will he win? Absolutely not. And I'm really keen for Canelo, hopefully, to put on a really good performance, get himself right back up there in the top 1 or 2 pound for pound in the world, and let's see some of those big fights later this year or early next year. Okay, all right.
Chauncey Pearls, how do you see this fight? And do you think Ryder has a chance to maybe go the distance here?
No, I'm pretty much with the whole panel. I think that John Ryder's a durable dude. He's gritty. He definitely, in my opinion, he earned this shot. And I just want to bring that up really quick. Is this dude at 168, Ryder? He had the 2 best wins as out of any 168 pounder whole 2022. So the people that are hating on this fight, just think about that. We just had Plant Benavidez. Benavidez obviously beats Plant. But who else is having wins? He took the Zach Parker fight. He beat Danny Jacobs. I really feel that he deserves this opportunity and this chance. And that's what happens when you take a chance and you gamble a little bit within your own career. Sometimes the golden ticket just lands on your lap, and this is exactly what happened. And so John Ryder definitely deserves the shot. I'm curious to see how Canelo looks coming off that hand injury. And then plus I'm not as excited about this fight. I'm probably like a 5 or 6. A little bit has to do maybe with the Tank Ryan hangover, kind of. We just had that big pay-per-view. So this one's, I don't know, it's kind of seems to me like it's flying under the radar, at least here in the United States. But I am excited for the Mexican fans, man. And I think Lowe said it, or you do too, D-Cell. When Canelo comes out, he walks out, the buzz and energy that's going to be in that arena is going to be electric, man. And I'm really excited to see that. As far as the fight, I think Canelo probably stops him 7 through 9th round. That's where I'm going.
Okay. All right. Joe Habib, can Ryder go? Can he take a ride to the 12th round?
Ryder's very durable. I do think Canelo may be slowing down a bit, but that's still not going to be enough to, make him overly vulnerable to these guys at 168 pounds. You could still say he could beat everyone at 168. I think David Benavidez, that would be a pick'em fight. I kind of lean toward David, but again, Canelo deserves to be favored in that fight, and I know most people will pick him in that fight. John Ryder was stopped 8 years ago, but I saw the fight. I thought it was a poor stoppage. John Ryder also lost a very close decision to Billy Joe Saunders. I thought he beat Caleb Smith 8-4 on my scorecard. Canelo Alvarez, allowed Caleb Plant to go 11 rounds before stopping him. went the distance with Gennady Golovkin. He's coming off of a wrist surgery, has a bad knee as well. 18-year career. All that being said and all those things considered, I do think this fight goes the distance. I think Canelo will win a unanimous decision. 9-3, 9-3, 8-4. So 117 and 111 twice, and 116 and 112 once. The over-under is 8.5 at a minus 112. I think the fight will go over. I'm going to bet Canelo to win this fight by decision at the plus 430. It's good. It's good odds. I think the fight goes the distance. And also, I don't think Canelo is going to go out there and throw all caution to the wind. I think he's going to start slow. John Ryder he's got a very tight defense, got a very high guard. It's hard to really hit him clean, consecutively. He's a real durable guy, tight defensive construct. He's a southpaw. He's a good counterpuncher. He moves his head very well when he works his way on the inside. He's really good at the feints. He's a tough out for anybody. I don't think anyone walks over him. You may beat him, but you are not going to beat him up, really. So I think Canelo was going to win this fight. I think he's going to land probably the more eye-catching shots, the cleaner shots. But John Ryder will be there till the end, in my opinion.
Okay. All right. Hey, guys, if you could hit the like button, make sure you hit that. Let's get to 50 likes ASAP. Come on, you guys can do it. I believe in you. You know what I mean? I may not believe in John Ryder this Saturday, but I believe in you. You could hit the like button. Hey, Calex, are you in agreement with BB here? Should I fork out some of my money and put some on Ryder to go the distance here?
Beeb's done his homework. He's got John Ryder pegged. Tough fighter. Not a guy you go out of your way to fight, especially coming off of a surgery and a homecoming fight. Tough mandatory. But at the end of the day, for 17-1 odds, 20-1 on my betting, but we've seen Canelo can be overvalued on betting odds. Specific example, and Beeb will know this, he was a 5.5-1 favorite against Bivol. He can be overvalued on betting odds just by the name. He's one of those guys. So I think they're undervaluing John Ryder here a bit. Where I disagree with Beeb is I think at some point in this fight, John Ryder in the middle rounds to late rounds is going to be forced into a business decision. I think Canelo is going to force him into a business decision. And there's either going to be a towel wave. There's going to be one of those type of fights, a knee taken, and Canelo gets a stoppage. I agree with Beeb. I think he's going to start off a little slow. He's going to be a little tentative. You're coming off of a surgery, 1-1 in 2022. Maybe they're overlooking the opponent. And when you're at home for the first time in 12 years, you never know. You never know how that guy's going to fight that fight. I don't think John Ryder is intimidated by this at all. So as somebody put in the chat, or somebody said, I think it was Team Batman Boxing put in the chat, is when Ryder loses this fight, because I think he does lose this fight, I think we're all in agreement in that, is it's not going to be because he gives in. It's going to be because it's beat out of him, right? And he's just too. This is a level up. Canelo is that dude here. So, but Ryder, you can argue all those losses, and Beeb went over them. They're all close losses that could have went either way. All of them. Some of those stoppages were bad. This is an undervalued fighter. It's a good fight. It's a fun fight. That would be my selling point. But I think the result is pretty much the result. I think we all see mid to late round stoppage or possibly a decision. And it's going to be a tough sledding for Ryder, because either way it goes, he's facing a guy who has gone 47 rounds combined with Golovkin and Kovalev and wasn't even buckled. He wasn't even hurt. It's not that he didn't hit the canvas. He wasn't even hurt. So you can't see a John Ryder hurting him. So I like Canelo here by some sort of stoppage. And shout out to Chauncey Pearls, by the way. Good to see him in the building, the Mexican Dr. Dre. And I tell you what, that man right there is a man of honor because he pays his bets. That's all I'll say on that.
That's right. That's right. I mean, Joe had to do that. Still owed, like, he deleted all his social media because you owed him $100. So it is what it is. It's Chauncey Pearls. Thank you for the invite. Everyone hit the like and enjoy the fights this week. Absolutely. Thank you for the support, brother. Make sure you guys hit the like button. Look, I'm just going to say it. If Canelo goes at this team, he takes Ryder the distance and he loses 4 rounds against Ryder, then the end is near. Like basically he is at the tail end. He's got 1-2 more fights, if that. Shit, if Ryder takes him to the limit in Mexico, that might be the last time you guys see Canelo Alvarez in the ring.
Now, I do have a question for you. Now,
Sure.
we know with Garcia and Davis, all the hoopla that happened with
Sure.
the pay-per-views, and I know you were a victim of that. Do you think this is going to affect the pay-per-view sales?
I do actually. You know what? I do believe, for those that don't know, I ordered the Garcia Tank fight and I couldn't see it. And I had to order it on the Showtime app. And there was no customer service or nothing. And so like it didn't work and there was nobody for me to contact for they could fix the issue. I'm still waiting for the refund. But that aside, yes, that's going to have an effect because yes, there are people that are saying to themselves, do I want to risk ordering this? Like, sure, I want to help Canelo, or I want to support the fight or whatever it is, right? But I don't know, man. Like, unless there's another way to order it, I'm not going to order it that way. Now, I live in El Paso, Texas, so I get the feed from Juarez, Mexico, so I'll get it for free anyway, right? So I'm going to get it on a stick for free, like, because I get the reception. But, I don't need to order it, but that's not here nor there. It's definitely going to affect it for sure. But now, just to touch on what I was going to say about the fight, look, I don't think this is what's going to happen, just for the record. But if Ryder takes him the distance like that, he has a tough fight. Like if he has a mouse under his eye and a cut, and he's been taken to the limit by Ryder, ladies and gentlemen, Canelo had a good run because the end is near. Like if that's what happens. If Joe Habib's prediction is correct, not only will he win money, right? The end is near for Canelo. Like that's got to say it, because a quality fight like Canelo should be able to take out Ryder. He should. The quote unquote.
Decent. Real quick, where I disagree with Beeb on the betting odds is, I think -340 for a Canelo knockout, some sort of stoppage here is if you parlay that with some. I'm thinking about parlaying that with Valenzuela at -150. I think you got pretty good odds for. I think what is a pretty strong. I'm feeling pretty strong. That's a stoppage fight for Canelo. I don't know if John Ryder goes the distance. I like -340.
Plant goes 11, and then Golovkin finishes. We both thought Golovkin was going to finish when everyone else thought Golovkin was going to get stopped.
Right.
Yeah, Plant goes 11. I don't know, man. This guy is tough, bro. He's not. No disrespect to Caleb Plant, but this guy is tough. You got to carry this guy out, man. He's like this coming forward. Southpaw, tough.
No, I don't want to make it sound like Canelo needs to get the stoppage, but he does have to. Like, I'm saying, if he loses 4 rounds,
9 rounds to 3. Like, I had him winning 9 rounds to 3 against Golovkin. 2 judges, I think, had it 7-5, and 1 judge, I think, had it 8-4. I mean, it's still a convincing win. And then Jacobs
that's still the best middleweight on the planet, right? Golovkin, according to you.
Yeah, you could say that. Probably, I think. I don't know. I mean, on paper he is, but I'm not 100% sure that he beats everyone down there now. But on paper, yeah, I would have to give him that. Sure. Jacobs went 12. Caleb Smith went 12.
Well, look, let me just. I want to finish my point. So, look. All the chips are literally on Canelo's favor here, right? Like he's the favorite. Like it's in his backyard. It's in, you know what I mean? Like all the chips are in his favor. If I would favor him heavy if this fight was in England, okay, where if John Ryder had the home field advantage or whatever, right? I would still heavily favor Canelo. Now Canelo the favorite has home field advantage. He's got to stop him. Like I know what you're saying, Beeb. He's a durable dude. He either has to stop him or dominate him. in that fight.
Oh, he'll win 9 rounds to 3 or 8 rounds to 4. It's a clear win. It's not a bad performance.
But is it top 5 pound for pound on the planet? Is it? Can we compare him to the Crawfords of the world? Can we compare him to the top fighters of the world if he's struggling against Ryder?
Would you consider him struck? Like, what if he just wins a clear decision? I don't like for the Golovkin fight. I thought that was a clear decision. Now, some people didn't like how he looked. They said he slowed down, whatever. You got to understand, he was up here. Everyone else is here. He goes down to this. He's still above everybody. So I know what you're saying because obviously I've said this before. The expectations are high for this guy, right? And everyone wanted him to knock out Golovkin. Everyone thought he was going to knock out Golovkin. I think besides myself and Calix, I thought everyone was saying he was going to stop Golovkin in his last fight, and I just didn't see it. But that doesn't mean that was a bad performance. It wasn't a scintillating performance, but it was a solid performance. I think if he gets a solid win here, I don't think it hurts him because he's always going to have those big that fight with Bivol, and he's going to have that fight with Benavidez. That fight with Benavidez is definitely going to happen next year, in my opinion. I have no reservations about that. And I think
I don't want to be the messenger. I don't want to give everybody the bad message, but if he has let's just say a bad performance, right? It's perceived as such by the boxing public.
Yeah,
it might be the last time we see Canelo. I mean, I don't think he's going to get in the ring with David if he struggles against Ryder.
The money's too much.
I'm neutral on whether he gets. I mean, I think he's going to win, but whether he gets stoppage or goes the distance, that's where I'm neutral. So, Joe, I was going to ask you just to give a little bit more insight into why you chose that Ryder's going to go the distance. Do you think it's because of Canelo slowing down, or do you think Ryder has something in the bag that maybe his previous opponents didn't?
Ryder is hard to hit clean, and when you do hit him clean, it's hard to hit him multiple times clean. I think his defense is extremely underrated. I think his head movement is extremely underrated. He's a solid puncher as well. I mean, this guy, I felt, won 8 rounds to 4 against Caleb Smith, right? Danny Jacobs, another guy that went the distance with Canelo. That fight could have gone either way. I think Canelo is going to win, but I just don't see this guy going away quietly. I just don't see it. Now, would you guys be shocked if John Ryder here's the final bell? Would that be a shocker? Or would you be shocked?
I would.
I wouldn't be. I wouldn't be shocked.
No.
Just like with Anthony Joshua and Jermaine Franklin, I picked Joshua by decision there. Everyone thought Jermaine Franklin was going to sleep.
That's not the best example. I mean,
well, I think I think it's a phenomenal example because Joshua's no disrespect to Franklin, right? Franklin is a top 25, top 30 fighter versus a top 5 fighter. He's supposed to stop him. Now,
that's what I mean.
I just hold Ryder in high regard. I think he's a solid guy. I think Ryder on any given day can beat anyone in this division.
I kind of felt like, how I feel about this fight? The same way I felt about Fury White. He's going to stop him. That's just how I feel about it.
No, you're in the popular opinion. My opinion is statistically insignificant here, but that's just how I feel.
What Beav is saying is this guy is probably big time undervalued from the American market.
He's undervalued, bro.
And one way to pretty much sum that up is, if Benavidez beat Ryder today, it'd be his second best win of his career. If Caleb Plant beat John Ryder today, it'd be the best win of his career. I mean, it's just the facts. Morrell Jr. beat Ryder today, it'd be the best win of his career, and people are undervaluing that. When it comes to Canelo, we talk about the expectations, right? Is when he fights Ryder and he beats him, it's not even a top 10 win, but that's because of what he's done with his resume, number one. And our expectations are from us to Canelo, and rightfully so, if he's the face of boxing, is get the stoppage. We expect the stoppage. We don't expect the stoppage from a Benavidez, from a Plant, from a Morrell Jr. because they simply haven't put in that work yet. But he's undervalued because on those other guys' resumes, it'd be a top 1 or 2 win for them.
Let me ask you this, Calix. Would you consider Ryder a better fighter than Caleb Plant?
It's hard to say. He's done more in his career, that's for sure. He has better wins in his career.
Would
Now he
you
has
favor?
losses.
Would you favor him to beat Caleb Plant right now? It's a pick 'em, right? It's a coin flip, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I'd say I'd favor Plant just off the eye test, maybe 1.5 to 1, but it'd be close.
Okay.
It'd be close.
You know, and I had that Plant fight even before Canelo stopped him. I know a lot of people had him winning 4 rounds in that fight. You know, and then looking at Ryder against what's his name in his last fight? Forget his name.
Oh, you're talking about Zach Parker.
Zach Parker, yeah, he looked good in that fight too.
And that's another thing, like Zach Parker, a guy that was openly ducked by Boo Boo Andre twice.
Murderous puncher.
Yeah.
Well, let's go around the panel here. But Lyndon, would it shock you, or would you be surprised if Ryder goes the distance in this fight?
No, I wouldn't be surprised at all. No, I as I said before, I think Canelo does maybe stop him late in the fight, but no, I wouldn't be surprised at all if John Ryder goes the distance and gives Canelo some trouble. I agree with Beebs. You know, he's a good fighter, and I know he's been undervalued by a lot of people. He's got no right to win this fight. Let's face it. It's in Mexico. It's Canelo, but the guy's durable. You know, he's got good speed. As Beeb said, he's got good head movement, so I think he can trouble Canelo. But I'd be surprised if he won more than 3 rounds.
All right, and I know Lo says she's neutral, right? Calix definitely sees it. I can see it in his eyes that he could see a possibility. Look, see, I see it.
Yeah, but I feel strongly in a middle round stoppage.
Okay, and then Chauncey, would you be surprised if it goes the distance?
I would not be surprised. Because as I mentioned, Ryder's a gritty, durable fighter. You know, he has some decent wins. And another thing is, I think you guys heard mention is Jalisco, Guadalajara, is it up in elevation? Do you guys know? I should probably ask my wife.
Yeah, it's not like Mexico City or nothing like that, but okay, it's pretty high.
Yeah, man. I think that if Canelo cannot get him out there within the middle rounds, like I said, I think I picked 7 through 9. I think after that, I think it does go the distance, and I wouldn't be surprised, just for the fact, like I said, that Ryder is a gritty dude, and he's not coming in to lay down, man. He's gonna come in to fight. He has nothing to lose, all to gain, and he's gonna lay it out on the line, man. So no, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ryder's going to get knocked out. I'm just going to put that out there. Okay, he's going out. Okay, by nine, he's out. But I just want to get your guys' temperature on your excitement level here. 0, not excited at all. 10, as excited as you could possibly be. Low, where are you at?
You know, the way I see it when I think about things like this is like, what's my excitement level? I think we need to appreciate Canelo while he's active, while he's here, while he's, you know, still, because when are we going to see someone with this much star power again? And I mean, this is like a once in a generation type of reach that he has. And that's what I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see that. The fight itself, not really. I'm excited to see how well Ryder does. I don't think he's going to win, but I think should he fight well, it's going to raise his stock, regardless. So,
all right, Calix.
About 6. I like the fight. I don't love it. I like the fight. Put it in proper perspective. This fight makes perfect sense. But much like Lo said, anytime it's Canelo fight week, you appreciate it because you don't know how many are left. And what this guy's given us over a decade, you appreciate because there's not going to be too many fighters. We talk about the Canelos, the Chocolatitos, the Pacquiaos. There's not going to be too many fighters left walking through that door fighting 60-something, 70-something fights and giving you consistently the best fights, you know, and polarizing the market in which, you know, you're either going to hate him or love him. You know, he's going to have his haters who are going to say dumb stuff. It is what it is. That comes with the territory. It comes with the face of boxing. So you appreciate it while it's here because it's authentic, it's organically built, and it's universal. It's universal. This isn't just something to America. It's in Mexico, and you feel the vibe across the world. But I understand at the same time why people wouldn't be excited about this. I get it. It's not. Doesn't reach their bar as to what they've expected of Canelo in the past So I get that too. I understand that sentiment if people feel like they want to sit it out, but I'm excited. I like the card. It's good action fights up and down the board.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Joe Beeb, 0 to 10. Where you at?
It's funny because on Sunday I bought the pay-per-view already. So it's already in the books. It's on the credit card statement. It's not pending anymore. It cleared, right? So it's already bought and paid for.
How many charges did you get?
Just one.
This one? Okay.
This is why I've always bought pay-per-views early, because I notice when you do buy them the day of, there's always the chance that you can have some issues.
I do it too.
I always buy it. I always buy it at least a week before, so I get lucky. But that being said, on Sunday, I'll be honest, I was like at a 5. But after I saw that press conference yesterday, I got to tell you the truth. I'm at an 8 right now. I felt that press conference. I was moved by that press conference. Seeing him walk into that room and that Mexican people cheering and looking at his face light up like that, appreciating that. Like, that's what boxing's all about, man. I'm getting corny right now. I know it, but I got emotional watching that press conference, and then seeing John Ryder all week, cool as a cucumber, feeling at home there. Eddie Hearn said something very moving on the podium where he said someone saw him in an elevator and said, "Welcome to Mexico. While you're here, this is your home." I'm starting to really, feel all of the energy now. It's seeping inside me right now, and I'm feeling it, and I'm pumped up for this fight. I like this fight. I'm at an 8 right now. I started at a 5, and I'm at an 8. I always do this. I did the same thing for Mayweather McGregor. Eric and I were laughing at it. Then we started seeing the press. We were like, this is ridiculous. This is dumb. Then we started seeing the press conferences. And then we got pumped up like the week of the fight. We actually were like excited about it. And this always happens to me. I always say I'm not up for a fight, but then the closer
boxing always sucks you in, huh?
Yeah, the closer it gets. I have this disease called pay-per-view-itis. I buy every event. I mean, it's sick. It's sad. But I'm actually excited for this fight, and I'm really not supposed to be.
All right. Okay. Hey, Chauncey Pearl, 0 to 10, brother. What's your excitement level?
Well, I'm with Beep too. I suffer from the same disease, the pay-per-view virus for sure too. And not only do I purchase all the boxing, I also purchase the UFC because I'm a big mixed martial arts fan too. So I live in California, man. So on my bank account, it gets dented every month with all these pay-per-views as well, man. So, but I can't stop. If I get the shakes if I'm not getting my pay-per-views, but this fight, as far as excitement, I would say a 5-6. Only because I don't love the fight. I don't hate it. I'm kind of like with Calcium. I'm kind of neutral about it. But maybe Saturday morning I might wake up with a little bit more of a buzz and get really into it. But as of right now, about a 5-6. And I'm more excited, like I said, for the Mexican fans, man, that are gonna get to see their idol, their champion, fight live in that stadium, man. And that walkout is gonna be, I almost guarantee it's gonna be epic. So that's what I'm more excited about. But I would say right now 5-6.
Okay, all right, Lyndon, what's your excitement level for this fight?
Look, for the fight itself, it's probably at about a 6. I don't think it's going to be the most exciting fight, but the event, I'm at about an 8. I think it will be great. Mexico, the walkout, the Canelo fanatics over there, it'll be awesome. So, as I said, like, fight is sort of about here, but I can't wait just to see a major event like this in Mexico. And I'm with the other panelists there. I think we've got to appreciate Canelo for as long as we've got him. He's been around a long time. He's been in a lot of big fights, and like a lot of our superstars of the past, we tend to not realise what we had until they've gone. We've been really lucky in the last few years, of course, to have Pacquiao and Mayweather and Canelo, of course, and I'm not quite sure when we'll see that next crossover superstar. So I'm going to make the most of it. Excuse me. It's only $29.95 to buy here in Australia, so I'll definitely be getting it, and I'll make the most. It's a Sunday morning, I think, here. I think it starts at about 9 or 10 in the morning, so we don't quite have the beer parties that you guys have over there, but all the same, it'll be great, and I can't wait. It should be a great card.
By the way, guys, we are literally just 4 likes away from 50. Come on. Okay, let's just hit the like button. You know what I mean? It takes 2 seconds. I swear to God, that's it. Nothing happens when you hit the like button. Like, you support the channel, but like, you're not gonna get shocked. It's all good. Make sure you do that, please. I'm at I don't know, like a 6. I'm at 6ish. That's where I'm at. Like, you know what I mean? It's I just know what's going to happen in the fight. You know what I mean? But I'll tell you what, though, and I want to make sure everybody understands this. This goes to all the people out there. Look, you have every right to not be excited for it. If you're not feeling the fight, you're not feeling the fight. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Nobody can force you to feel it. But what a lot of people need to understand, especially here in the States, it's like people here in the United States don't get it. This fight isn't for you. Like, oh, I don't want this. I didn't ask for it. Nobody asked you if you wanted it. It's not for you. Canelo made it very clear. He went to Eddie Hearn, and Eddie's like, hey, well, you want? Hey, let's do it in England. Los Angeles wanted to fight. A lot of people, a lot of cities wanted to fight, right? Mm-hmm. And Canelo said, no, I want to fight in front of my people. That's it. It's long overdue. 11 years.
Going to take a hit financially doing it, but also these styles, what we need to explain to people is what we've tried to explain to people in the past is when you're talking about Canelo's opposition, in particular to a single fight, you're comparing apples to oranges. Why do I say that? Because you're getting another fight in 4 months. Errol Spence fights Ugas. He disappears for God only knows who long. Look at how long. Look at all the top peers. Bud Crawford, when's he going to fight? We don't know. These guys fight. They get on the microphone after the fight and say, I got to talk to my manager. With Canelo, the beautiful thing is you get a clear and concise plan, multi-fight plan. We know where he's going. We know we're going to see him again in September. We know we likely see him again in February after that. That's the beautiful thing about it is if this isn't the fight you want, you likely get it next. And if the fight you don't want is next, it's likely after that. He has a track record of giving you your fights within 12 to 18 months. His peers don't have that track record. Enjoy it.
You know what you should do, D-Style, to get your excitement level up a little bit? Go back and watch the press conference again, man. That was a great press conference. Go back.
Yeah, it was a good press conference. I saw some dudes on Twitter. They had to pipe in booze to make people believe it. What are people doing over here? Like, how desperate do you have to be to prove a point? But yeah, just to finish my point, look, this fight, he's doing this for his people. This is for him. You know what I mean? This is for the people in his hometown. That's what this is for. It's not for you. It's sorry, fight doctor. It's not for you, bro. Like, you know what I mean? I know you don't like the fight. Don't worry, bro. He's going to be back in September, bro. Unless he retires. Unless Ryder takes him to the limit. All right? I'm just saying.
He'll fight Beterbiev. Don't worry.
Hey, but let's go ahead and proceed here. Hit my like button, guys. We did get to 51. Thank you. All right, much appreciated. Top Rank, they win the purse bid for Archer Beterbiev versus Callum Smith, the WBC purse bid, by just $15,000. Top Rank outbid Matchroom. They bid $2,115,000 to Matchroom's $2,100,000. Okay, the fight will definitely more likely happen on ESPN, ESPN Plus, and Top Rank won the bid. And do they have spies or something, people? What's going on? Does the Godfather have some spies there? By 15,000?
You know what's funny? It did look suspect, but then I was listening to an Eddie Hearn interview this morning, and he was saying that, you know, the promoters have been doing this for so long, and they almost have it down to a science, and they actually know what each other's going to bid. This is what he said. This is not my words. Okay. So he didn't think that there was anything fishy about it. Now, on the surface, I thought it was kind of sketchy. Like, I've never seen someone lose a purse bid by 15,000. I'll be honest. But listening to Eddie Hearn and you know his explanation for it and how he explained it, he's not really up in arms about it. He feels as though he lost it fair and square. He's not.
Let me ask you a follow up then. Let me ask you this follow up. So
sure.
This goes for everybody in the panel. Do you think there should be a second round? Like, it's like everybody. I've always believed it should be everybody, and then there's a second round for the top two promoters, right? to bid again, and I think that would favor the fighters. So they would make a bigger purse, right? Do you think it should be a second round in purse bids?
I would say no, because if I was a promoter and I bid on it and I won, I wouldn't want a second round. So I don't want to hold someone to a standard I wouldn't hold for myself. I'm putting myself in the promoter's shoes. I wouldn't want a second round. No.
Oh, fair enough. What do you think of the fight? Who do you favor?
Oh, Beterbiev. Beterbiev is just. I don't think anyone beats him right now. Not even Bivol.
Man, okay. Lyndon, well, what do you think of Top Rank winning the purse bid for Matchroom, and who do you favor in his matchup, brother?
Yeah, it's definitely interesting on the surface. Wasn't looking at only $15,000, but look, I think another thing to maybe throw out there is I can understand as a promoter why you would only want that one bid, and Beebs is right. They do have it to an exact science, but maybe at some point there is even an auction system where there's a bidding system where we start at whatever and we just keep bidding until someone goes out, a bit like was it Storage Wars or something like that. But but the fight itself, I don't mind the fight. I think it's a good test for Beterbiev, but I think he would probably chop Callum Smith down as the fight goes on. I think Smith, look, he's talented, he's tall, obviously he's got some good advantages there, but I think Beterbiev, he's just a beast, and I think he chops Smith down and probably stops him late.
All right. Calix, thoughts on the purse bid, and who do you favor this fight?
Beterbiev, easy. And I disagree with Beeb, though, on the Bivol fight. I would favor Bivol. But the purse bid thing, it's I mean, it is what it is. I don't understand Bivol versus Beterbiev still not happening at this point. I think it's sad. But I just think Beterbiev steamrolls him. But this isn't like somebody being alerted. If that's what happened here and they outbid him by 15,000 because they were alerted to what Matchroom, that's not as disgusting as what the WBA Champions Committee did with Danny Garcia, Arislani Lara today. So it is what it is. There's a long list of stuff we could we could talk about when it comes to sanctioning bodies, but the fight's okay. It's okay. Better be.
What do you think about a second round of purse bids?
I like the Storage Wars idea, but the bidding war idea. But no, it's fine how it is. I mean, it's fine.
Okay. Hello. So Top Rank gets the best of Matchroom. They're going to get the fight. What are your thoughts on that? And who are you going to favor in this fight?
So I really don't have too much of an opinion on the way that the purse bids were made. I think it's just, the same way a boxer wins a fight very close. Top Rank won this very close. And good for them, too, because they didn't have to overbid way too much to win it. So that's good as well. But as far as the second round thing, there's already so much that goes into getting these fights made, and they fall apart so easily as it is. I would hate for just something else to add to it, make it even harder to get these fights made. But as far as Beterbiev and Smith, I mean, I think it's going to be one-way traffic, Beterbiev. And then as far as Beterbiev and Bivol, I'll give my opinion on that when we talk about the WBC in a little bit.
Sure.
But yeah, Beterbiev.
Chauncey, does Top Rank have some spies or what? That was...
Dang, you guys are really like not feeling Callum Smith, huh? Oh. I think that Callum Smith, he has a good resume. He moved up to 75 after his loss to Canelo, and he's had two spectacular knockouts, like knockout of the year candidates, man. And I think that he's found his spot in the weight division. I think that he's being undervalued in this fight. I do favor obviously Beterbiev, but I don't think it's going to be as easy as people think. I think that he may even get his licks in too. So yeah, definitely favor Beterbiev. And as far as like the purse bid, this is like the casual of me speaking. I really don't care, man, about that. I just want to see the fights. Whoever bids or whatever, I mean, whatever, as long as we get to see the fights, and then that's all good.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I'll just give my thoughts really quick. Look, I don't think that there's there's some moles in the matchroom camp. They're giving away the numbers to Top Rank. I don't know. And if there is, I guess that's part of the game, right? Just don't let moles in your camp or whatever. But what I'll say is this: I do think Beterbiev should be favored to win. And there's a blueprint to beat him. Just watch the Canelo fight, right? And that's just that. And I think Beterbiev could do a lot of what Canelo did. Stylistically, he could do it more effectively than even Canelo did, right? With those short 6-inch punches that he throws on the inside. I mean, he's going to have a field day. How tall is Canelo Smith? Like 6 foot what?
6'3".
6'3". I don't know that they stack target practice that high. You know what I mean? Like, because he's going to get like beat up. Okay, whoa. I'm just saying. All right. But whoa. Hey, that they have to fight the fight. So what I think doesn't matter, right? They're going to fight. They're going to settle in the ring anyway. So what I think is relevant. Let's go ahead and go to the Mauricio Sulaiman has made it clear that Bivol will not be fighting for a WBC title as long as there's sanctions in Russia and as long as there's no boxing in Ukraine. Okay, this theoretically kills the fight with Beterbiev being for Undisputed at 175 and even a Canelo at 168, which he allegedly wants to fight at with the rematch with Canelo. So just so anybody wondering, he did give reason for Artur Beterbiev. He did say, well, Artur Beterbiev's been living in Canada for 15 years, so that's why he's exempt from this Russian ban, right? But so Bevo hasn't been in Indio, California long enough, I guess. I don't know. Maybe, I don't understand it. But I personally don't. I don't want to dive into the whole politics, but I just don't like a sanctioning body like punishing a fighter, an athlete in this case, for something that his country of origin, right, his president or leader is doing, right, what his government is doing. The U.S. fighters didn't get banned when we invaded Iraq. That would have been dumb. Like, well, what do the athletes have anything to do with anything, right? So I just don't agree with it personally, but that's what Mauricio said. My question to the panel, you could touch on that as well, but my main question is, do we really need Mauricio Sulaiman's permission for these two guys to fight and for us as fans to just acknowledge that this is for the Undisputed Championship? We will just know. Who gives a shit if Mauricio Sulaiman doesn't want to sanction it? Who gives a shit? Dude makes up belts anyway. He's letting the dude at middleweight be a champion. Hasn't fought in 700 days, right? He has phantom champions everywhere. So, and if he fights Canelo and beats Canelo at 168, does the WBC belt have to be on the line for us to know that he would be the Undisputed Champion? Lo, to start with you.
So, I mean, the WBC, Mauricio Sulaiman as an individual and then the WBC as an entity has come out with a very staunch, strong statement saying, we are completely pro-Ukraine, against, the Russian invasion of Ukraine. So from a business standpoint, I see why they are, standing with the line in the sand saying, no, we won't do this. Now, I don't have no personal opinion on it. And even if I did, I'm not going to share that because it's the nature of boxing, not politics. But I see why they did it. And you can't blame them for making that decision when they've already come out and said, I am not for this. Now, as far as the fight itself, it's not going to matter because it's Bivol and Beterbiev, right? It's not going to matter what Mauricio Sulaiman's opinions are as a individual and as the CEO of his company. So all that aside, I hope as a boxing fan, this is not going to dissuade. Is that a word? Dissuade?
Dissuade's a word. Dissuade's a word.
Okay.
You can use that.
I didn't want to sound dumb, but okay.
You're all right. You're good.
I don't want it to dissuade them to get the fight made. But as someone who's married to a boxer, I would understand and not blame either one of them if they decide, no, we're not doing this unless we get that WBC belt, because this is a big fight between the both of them. And I'm sure they want all the marbles and it not to be disputed at all. So I wouldn't blame them either if they decided, hey, let's just wait this out until we can get some clearance on this. But, as a boxing fan, though, I really hope we still get it. So.
Yeah.
Because I want to see Bivol beat him.
Yeah. I think when you talk about Undisputed, to me, I understand, it's the 4-belt era. You have to have the 4 belts. Officially, that's what most people are going to consider Undisputed. But to me, Undisputed has always been a designation. Who's ever deemed to be by the general consensus, that I've had discussions with people about this before, and some people have had heated debates with me over this, but I've said, you know what? To me, Undisputed, like with the whole thing with Teofimo, when the whole franchise thing, whatever, and he didn't have the original. To me, at that time, Teofimo Lopez was undisputed because he beat the man who beat the man. So I that's how I kind of categorize it. And so for me, it wouldn't bother me if the WBC belt was there or not, for me to be able to determine who would be the best fighter in that division. If Bivol and Beterbiev fought, the winner of that fight would be the best fighter in that division. But I understand the fighters, they want the official belt. Of course they would want that WBC belt. I would want it too. But then for me, if I was in that situation, I could see myself saying, you know what? Let's just fight. We know who the best in this division is going to be at the end of it all. And the public will know that as well. So with or without the WBC belt, this is going to be undisputed, because no one's going to dispute who the best fighter in this division is after that fight takes place. I don't think anyone would. No one's going to slide anyone else in that slot. It's going to be undisputed. Categorically, it's going to be undisputed either way. And I'm not going to get into the politics. Everyone knows where I stand on it. I don't like mixing politics with sports. I've always had that stance myself. So we've had discussions on that over and over again as well. But I kind of feel bad for Bivol, because I think deep down he wants to have that belt, and he would want to have that belt. And it's crazy too, because imagine if they fought and Mauricio Sulman said, yeah, we'll do the fight, but Beterbiev can win his WBA title, meaning Bivol's WBA title, but Bivol can't win his WBC title. He can only win the other two, right? So I don't know. It's weird how just one sanctioning body is going along with it. It's a lot of times the sanctioning bodies will all meet to discuss when they're going to do mandatories and stuff like this. I'm surprised they didn't have kind of a discussion about this as well, because if only one sanctioning body is doing it, it does kind of seem a little bit bizarre in my opinion.
Absolutely. Lyndon, how do you feel about it, bro?
Oh, look, it's always a touchy subject, isn't it? Getting political. I must admit, I'm one that I hate sporting organisations getting involved in politics. I know they're in sports all over the world. They tend to think that they are, they know what's best for everyone. And but I agree with Lo. I'm not, don't want to discuss politics on here. We're talking boxing, but I don't like it. Look, I didn't even like it when Bivol fought Canelo, and I know that was just when the Ukraine thing started. But when they came out, he wasn't allowed to have a flag with his anthem, or even say on his little bio where he was actually from. I didn't like that. I could probably understand at the time playing the anthem, and that might have been a bit provocative, but to at least say where he's from, I thought was a bit rough. But in terms of this, I think end of the day, the WBC, we all know the selfish Suleiman is a selfish guy as well, and they're not thinking of the fans here. So maybe they've just got to do the fight, and I know it wouldn't be for the Undisputed, but just say, all right, keep the WBC belt, we'll fight anyway, and everyone knows they're going to be the Undisputed champion. So yeah, it's not good, but let's hope that whether it's boxing or tennis or football, whatever, just keeps the nose out of this and lets us fans enjoy sport and these big events without having them stick their nose in.
For sure. And Linda, would you let's say, because there's two types of boxing fans. Right? There's the type that just kind of know, right? Like they could just acknowledge someone's undisputed, and then you have the very technical, nah, if it's not all 4 belts, it's not undisputed. It doesn't matter what the situation is. Where do you stand?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And look, to be honest with you, us hardcore fans, it matters to us, doesn't it? But to those casual fans out there that, I don't think it really matters. Because let's face it, when Mayweather and Pacquiao were at their peak fighting in those big fights, did the fans out there really know what titles were on the line? They probably didn't. And even the way they marketed it was as the world welterweight title. It wasn't actually a WBC or WBA. So I don't think most fans out there care. As I said, the hardcore fans care, but not the majority of fans out there. I think it's just simply they want to see good fights. So I don't think it really matters. In this fight in particular, I know it's not technically undisputed, but I don't think people would care. They know this is the fight of the division, and the winner would be unofficially the undisputed champion. So yeah, I don't think it would matter.
All right, Chauncey Pearls, what do you think, brother? Oh, you muted.
I wouldn't mix like politics with sports, man. That's not why we watch sports, obviously. And I just don't think that they should, intertwine. Of course, war and the conflict is bad. None of us support that. But I mean, this is what like the WBC does, right? Like lately, the WBC belt used to be, to me at least, was like the most prestigious. Like it looked nice. It was just the WBC, and now it's like it's just all these goofy rules and goofy things that they got going, and Mauricio Sulaiman coming out, and he makes the rules as he goes, and he changes them as he feels that he needs to, and it's just goofy. I don't get it. Like Beterbiev is Russian. Obviously, he says that like he's been living in Canada, but like come on, like I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. Whatever, man. Like yeah, Mauricio Sulaiman just a goofy to me.
All right, Calix, this is Bounce Gone Wild episode 490. What are your thoughts?
And Chauncey was onto something here. What he was alluding to is the semantics of it are weird because Beterbiev lives in Canada, but where did Beterbiev go right after his fight to celebrate? He had a homecoming party. He was in Russia. And Bivol lives in California. And I guess since he identifies as Russian as a fighter, then he's the one who's banned. It's super weird. None of us like any of this mixed into our sports. Like Beav said, I'm the same way. It's like sports are our getaway from that stuff. It's our common ground to get away from that stuff and just have a good time. So we don't like any of this. We don't like it there. And on top of that, the semantics of it are just weird. It's weird. Like none of it makes any sense. But this isn't what's holding up this fight. I want to make that clear. And I also want to make clear that Canelo is also not holding up this fight. He didn't exercise his immediate rematch clause. When I saw good old Bob Arum roll out Anthony Yard to the Joe Smith Jr. fight, I said, there it is. They're not going to give us the fight. They're not going to give it to us. The undisputed fight is right there. Bivol beats Canelo, legacy-defining win. Beterbiev destroys Joe Smith Jr., and the fight was right there. It's perfectly built. But what did they do? No, he's going to fight Yard next, and then he's going to fight Zordo next. The fight was right there to be made, right there, and they didn't. And it leads me to another discussion we need to have as boxing fans is, how valuable, how important is Undisputed? Because we say belts matter. We say that four belt system, that blueprint to making fights matters. But as Beeb has alluded to, one thing we would disagree with is Undisputed is like a real thing that is defined by having all the belts. I disagree with Beeb on that. Is the guy who beat the guy is lineal. That's not Undisputed. However, I think where we would agree is Undisputed seems to be getting watered down because a guy like Josh Taylor becomes Undisputed and he says, dude, I can't pay 11% in sanctioning fees to defend all four of these belts at one time. I got to give up these belts. I can't. And then we get one fight away from Undisputed in multiple weight classes. Spence Crawford, Bivol Beterbiev, Fury versus Usyk. After Fury versus or Usyk, whoever it was at that point, Wilder versus Joshua, wherever it was, we get one fight away and they don't do it. So we have to ask ourselves, how valuable is Undisputed if fighters are not fighting for it? Another specific example, D-Style, is Devin Haney's Undisputed at 135. And he has two guys he's looking up at on the pound-for-pound rankings in his own division. So how valuable are those belts? We're sending mixed signals. So we need to make Undisputed valuable, and we need to make it sustainable if we want it to be a real thing. So that would be my other pitch. But as far as the WBC, like everybody else says, I don't really care.
I think a good way to gauge what the culture within boxing, whether we think Undisputed as the belts or like it's like a,
designation.
It's a designation, yeah. I think the best way, we have a perfect setup coming up. We've already seen Davis and Garcia. We saw the record-breaking numbers that they had. There was no belts on the line for that. We're going to compare it to Haney and Loma. And we'll see just how important belts are to boxing fans. Like, I know I have my own personal feelings about it, and everyone else does too. But I'm interested to see how the general boxing fan base feels about it, and I think it's going to reflect in those numbers.
I've always subscribed to the theory that the fighter makes the belt doesn't make the fighter. Maybe that's fair. And here's another thing too, not to belabor the point, but imagine if Beterbiev and Bivol do fight, and say Bivol wins and the belt's not on the line, but Beterbiev just takes the WBC belt and walks over and just hands it to him.
You would cry, wouldn't you?
Little bit. I think I would. That would be a boss move. I wouldn't do it in front of people. I'd go in my room and cry. I'd go in my room and cry. I wouldn't do it in front of people, but I think I would cry. But that would be a boss move.
You have to wonder too, if they do fight and WBC does not sanction it, and let's say Bivol wins, do you really feel like Beterbiev is going to feel like he still owns that belt?
No.
Probably
he's going to give it to him. I think he's going to give it to him.
Because the meaning behind a belt is no longer valid. You know what I mean? Like there's a reason. Like, look, all I know is this. I get that there's a lot of boxing fans that are very technical about everything, right? Like, no, it's not undisputed unless you have all 4 belts and all 4 sanctioning bodies all recognize the belt. You got to hold them all at the same time, and if you don't, it doesn't matter what the reason is. You're no longer undisputed. I get it, right? However, you're just gonna know, all right? You're gonna know. Like, it's simple. You know who the best light heavyweight in the world is after the winner, whoever the winner of that fight is. You're gonna know. If Bivol wins that fight, you know he's the best without dispute. I don't care if Callum Smith beat Joe Schmo, right? For the vacant WBC belt after that, and Bivol has the other 3. You already know he's the undisputed champ. That's just my opinion, right? Okay, the other guy, you know what the other guy's going to be? The definition of a paper champion is what they're going to be. Go ahead, Chauncey.
Go ahead.
I mean, we will obviously know that because, we follow the sport, but for like casuals, it's kind of like, like with an NBA team or like an NHL team, they win a title. What is it that they're picking up? It's a trophy, like you want to kind of see them wear that belt, you know what I'm saying? So they could feel like, oh, they're a champion. But for us, of course, we're gonna know, who the man is. So,
go
ahead.
I'm sorry. I just want to say one last thing. It's like when George Kambosos had all the titles and he was considered undisputed. With all due respect, I just didn't think he was the best fighter in that division at the time. And again, that was just my opinion. So I disputed his claim to being undisputed because I just didn't think he was the best fighter.
You can't do that.
I did it, man. I did it. I did it. I did it.
You just did it, huh?
I did it.
He has all the belts though in his trophy case.
I disputed his claim. I just didn't think he was the best in the division.
Well, sometimes someone would like it's like this. Sometimes the winner of the Super Bowl isn't necessarily the best football team, right? But they're still the champ, though. Like they're still number 1.
And to get all 4 belts, I mean, sometimes depending on the division and the climate within that division, you got to make sure all those stars align for you to even get the shot to get all those belts. You know what? I'm not gonna go on a rant about this, but I could, but I'll have some self-control here.
You gotta do it.
Whenever Canelo became undisputed at 168, what killed me with all the buildup and all the media, no mention of Calzaghe. Calzaghe was the very first guy to ever have all 4 belts. He didn't have them all at the same time. He was forced to give up his belt, 1 belt, so he could fight Lacey, who I have a poster up behind me, Calzaghe versus Lacey. But he had to give up a belt to get that fight. And no mention that he was the first to have all 4. He didn't have them all at the same time, but he did have all 4. No mention of it. So after that, I stopped caring because there's no way someone's going to tell me that Calzaghe was never the undisputed 168. No way. Not with his resume.
That's a champ right there. Better than Froch forever.
To be clear, Calix, Kambosos deserved having that title of being undisputed. I just didn't think he was the best. So I disputed
he
his
never
claim.
was technically undisputed. And that's where it gets, this is where.
That's what I'm talking about. The technicality of it. But this is boxing. This isn't court.
Right? It's like Calzaghe could have been seen as the undisputed champion, but he's not. It's tough.
It's
tough.
all technicality.
Yeah. I'm tired of boxing fans treating the sport like we're in court or something. You know what I mean? Like, what's going on over here? Like, but technically speaking, he isn't because he didn't hold it. I don't know. Like, Mauricio Sulaiman should not have that much power, right? Mauricio Sulaiman should not have the power to just like take someone's opportunity for being undisputed because you don't want him to fight for it. Okay, for whatever reason you have, I'm not going to hand Mauricio Sulaiman that power. I'm just not going to do it. Now, Lo, the only issue I have with that is if we do that, then we got to call Fury undisputed because he had all the belts too. We can't do that. It's just we can't do it. You know what I mean?
By 5,
You can't give Beef that power. You can't give Beef that
he's undisputed, Fury.
Hey, but really quick, so I have the poll up. 77% are saying they will recognize Beterbiev as the undisputed champion, even without the WBC belt on the line. 23% are saying nope, they don't give a shit. Like nope, if it's not on the line, you're not undisputed. Okay, I guess But what are you gonna do? Keep going on the poll, guys. Shakur Foster. Just want to touch on this one really quick. He's a free agent. Right? He says he wants Joe Cordina, who's on Matchroom, or Hector Luis Garcia, who's on PBC. Which unification fight do you like better? And who would you favor in that fight? Let's start with you, Joe.
Oh, I love the Cordina fight. And wow, that's a tough one. I think I would edge Foster there. I think he's a little too crafty, a little too slick, but that's a tough fight. I wouldn't be shocked if Cordina won that fight, but I would edge Foster in that fight, and that's the one I would love. I would love to see Foster versus Cordina. That's a great fight.
Chauncey Pearls, same question to you, brother.
Yeah, man, Cordina all the way, and put that in the UK. And I would favor Shock by a little bit. I think he's a little bit more skilled than Cordina, but Cordina is no slouch. But definitely. That would be a fun fight. That would be a fight I would love to see and put that in the UK for sure.
All right. Low.
Yeah, he surprised me on that Showtime card right after what was it? It was back during the holidays, I believe that was. He surprised me. I did not, I didn't think he was going to win. And to see him not just win, but win in such grand fashion like that. I mean, to me, I don't want to ever put it past him now. I think he could edge a decision with Cordina and also with Garcia as well, to be quite honest. And I don't think we've seen the best of him yet. So I will throw it out there with confidence that I feel like if we get either of those fights, he could win. And also, I have to give him props for he's not still out celebrating his win. He wants to get back in there and defend that belt. So I like him as a champion. I like that he's wanting these big fights, and I'm just happy to see it, whoever wins.
Calix, which one do you like and who do you favor?
Yeah, shout out to Loki Boxing, who broke that Shakur Foster was going to become a free agent on Ringside Reporter on the Roundtable last week. So shout out to him. And also, I'm glad to see that some of these fighters are wiggling their way out of these pro bellum contracts and becoming free agents, and good for them. I hope they leverage them into some big and good contracts where they're active. And the fight I'd like to see D-style is Cordina. Shakur Foster is a beautiful fight. Foster fought great against Ray Vargas, kicked him back down to 126. Great style with him. Nice length, and he uses it well. And that Cordina fight will be fun. That'll be fun. I favor Cordina.
All right. Okay. Well, Shakur Foster against Cordina or against Garcia. Which fight would you like to see, Lyndon?
I like the Cordina fight. I think they both looked really good in their last fights. Particularly, I thought Cordina really toughed it out against Rakhimov, and but Foster did look good against Vargas as well. I gather we're not throwing Navarrete in there as well, just these guys. But yeah, no, I think Cordina and Foster would be a great fight in the UK. And I would probably favour, if it's in the UK, I'm going to go for Cordina in a very close one.
All right. Yeah, I like the Cordina fight. It should probably be in Cardiff, as the commenter says. And I would love to see that fight. I think the atmosphere would be great. I would favor Foster, but I don't know, man. Like Cordina can crack, and he could box himself. So it's a very interesting fight. I want to definitely see it. Last topic of the evening, and we're going to be talking about Ryan Garcia. He left Joe Goosen. I'm actually surprised about this, but maybe I shouldn't be. Is this surprising? And, you know, I know just it wasn't on the topic, but just recently it came out that he's from what I've read, that he's asked, I don't know how true it is, Reynoso, if he wants to work with him again. I mean, that is what it is. But, Calix, what are your thoughts on him leaving Joe Goosen, and who do you think he should go to next, if anybody?
I think we all saw Joe Goosen and Ryan Garcia break up. Post-fight press conference, from all the rumors leading up to the fight, that he's only working with Joe Goosen on sparring days, 3 days a week. The other 4 days.
I don't want to interrupt you, but Joe, for what it's worth, just Joe Goosen gave an explanation. He said he got caught up in a conversation and didn't realize that the press conference had already ended.
Mm-hmm.
So I just throwing that out.
Sure. When you're working part-time with the trainer, it's just not going to work. So Ryan Garcia, is he going to hire a figurehead, a fall guy, or is he going to hire someone who is going to be there in camp with him full-time, and somebody who cares about his development and they care mutually about what goes on with his career? That's the question. And Eddie Reynoso is the only trainer that I would trust to see Ryan Garcia retrain with, re-sign with, whatever you want to say. And I'd say, okay, he's serious about his career now, because anybody else he hires, he can hire anybody else. People can throw out names, Robert Garcia, Freddie Roach. Is he going to be serious about training with those guys full time? We don't know, number one. And are those guys, because I'm sure Joe Goosen was happy working with Ryan Garcia 3 days a week and getting the bag. You know, he got what he wanted out of the deal. He got paid. He got paid a ton of money for this fight and for the 3 fight services for Ryan Garcia for working part-time. So everybody got what they wanted out of that deal. Ryan Garcia got his fall guy. Joe Goosen got his money. But I don't know if he can crawl back to Reynoso and make that work. If he goes back to that camp, he's going to have to work. He's going to have to work.
All right. Shout out to the chat who's fiercely fighting about who's the best super middleweight of all time. Young division, guys. I just put that out. It's a very young division. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. It's like arguing who's the tallest midget ever. Like,
whoa.
You know, like let's have a debate about who's the best middleweight of all time. Then we'll be talking. How about that? Okay. But in all seriousness, Lyndon, are you surprised that there's this breakup? And is there anyone you believe that he could work with?
I'm not surprised this has happened, because I think Ryan Garcia's fallen into the category of being a little bit of a prima donna. Let's face it. He's one of these fighters, I think, that will continually blame everyone except himself for what happened. Now, whether you want to argue with what happened during the fight with the body shot and all the rest of it, that'll be debated amongst fans. But, you know, there was the mole in the camp. There was obviously the press conference. There was the lack of instructions during the fight, apparently. So who knows? But look, I think it would be hard for him to go back to Reynoso, because Canelo and Garcia, of course, have had a few spats on, was it Instagram, whatever social media is. So that might be a little bit tough. But I don't know. I think off the top of my head, I would say that Robert Garcia would be a good fit. But Robert Garcia is not going to tolerate Garcia's little hissy fits and his little outbursts or whatever it might be that he brings to the table. Garcia is a very no-nonsense type of coach. So as is a Freddie Roach and these types of guys. So I'm not sure. Does he want just a yes man for the rest of his career? Just going to pat him on the back and say, oh, Ryan, you are the greatest and everything else? I'm not sure. I think he's going to struggle to get a renowned trainer involved, because I just don't think he's going to be able to accept criticism and being able to having to dedicate his whole life to it. And there's been doubts whether he's 100% committed to the sport, where it's all about the Instagram likes and the money and the fame. So I'm not sure whether he's going to get one of those trainers that he needs to get him to that next level with the current attitude that he has. Because let's face it, Joe Goosen, he's had some great fighters over the past. He's been a very inspirational type of trainer. He's got the best out of his fighters. And if Ryan Garcia is kicking into the curb with really no consideration, I'm not sure whether the Roaches and Garcias and these types of guys are going to want to take Ryan Garcia on. So he's got to change. He's got to check himself and change his attitude if he's going to go forward in his career.
Well, I agree. Low, anywhere he can go?
I'm sorry. I just saw where Kalik said Calzaghe's resume is kind of mid, and that threw me off because no, it's not. So what was the topic? I'm so sorry. Ryan. Okay. I'm sorry.
Ryan leaving Goose.
Okay. Back to Ryan. To me, he's from that generation, the Gen Z, where, they don't like the job they have, they quit. They don't really care. They're going to move on to the next thing. They're not really around for longevity. So that didn't come to us as a surprise to me when he announced that they were parting ways. That didn't really shock me. Now, as far as who he goes to or who he should go to, there's a whole resume of really good quality, high quality trainers who could potentially help him. It's just going to come down to what coach is Ryan going to have that respect of their authority, because there needs to be a sense of authority coming from the trainer. The trainer needs to be able to command their attention, their dedication, and demand their dedication, number one. So it's really going to come down to that. Now, that's on to Ryan. It's not ever going to be like an issue with, well, who's the trainer? It's going to be an issue with which trainer is Ryan going to listen to. So for me, maybe this loss humbled him a bit. Maybe he will start listening now that he's had to, go through this, not have his hand raised for the first time since the amateurs. So we'll see.
Joe Habib, are you surprised by this move? Or how do you feel about it?
I got to be honest, I am a little surprised. I kind of got the sense that he eventually was going to leave Goosen, but I didn't think it would be right after this fight. So I was surprised. As far as a trainer, I mean, I could hold the mitts for him. I could watch him hit the reflex cobra bag. I mean, it's pretty much what you got to be if you're a trainer for him, because he pretty much runs his own camp, it seems. So I don't know. I think that it's tough to train a guy like Ryan Garcia, because are you ever really going to get through to someone like him? No disrespect to the guy. He's made a lot of money. He makes more money outside the ring, probably. Well, no, before he did, but not after this, probably not. But there was a time when he was making more money outside the ring than inside the ring. So when you're in a situation like that, your priorities kind of shift a little bit. But yeah, I'm not this guy that believes like a trainer can be that magic potion for a fighter and turn him around, especially someone who's been boxing as long as Ryan Garcia in the amateurs, as well as a decent amount of time in the pros. So I would say Robert Garcia, would be someone to start with, but I'm not even sure that would work.
Chauncey Pearls, are you surprised?
No, and Lowe took the words right out of my mouth. I was about to say that same thing, is that Ryan Garcia is like the quintessential like Gen Z dude, where like he wants the likes, he wants the following, he wants the clout, he wants the money, but he ain't trying to put in the work. He's not. At this point, man, I don't even know if like Ryan Garcia should even be back boxing. I mean, I don't know who he's gonna go with. Who would even, man? I mean, I'm sure there's trainers out there that would take the job for the money, of course, but I just don't see him as a hard worker. All the signs were there from the beginning, And yeah, man, I don't know. I don't think that Ryan Garcia is focused on the fight game. And why should he? If he has a bunch of different outlets that he can make money, he can model underwear, whatever he was doing. And yeah, man. So whatever, you know.
Man. So I just want to ask one more question to Lyndon. I just want a fighter's perspective here. So, do you think, like, how do you think Ryan's going to handle the criticisms from his, like, forget the fans, his peers? Like, Canelo just came out, I think it was yesterday, before, saying he should have gotten up, he should have kept fighting. Chavez at first had said, I didn't even see the punch, I never want to see him again. Ishe Smith came out and said the dude quit. A large percentage of fighters are coming out saying a very consistent message here. How do you think he's going to handle that?
Yeah, well, we all have our own versions of what we thought happened with the body shot. And I think actually George Kambosos actually, I thought, had the best comment on this fight. He said when he went down, he didn't look like he was hurt. He looked like he was defeated. And I thought that was a really keen observation. The look in his eyes wasn't that, yeah, as I said, he was hurt as such. It was that he was done. But anyway, that's a different subject. But yeah, look, I don't know. As I said, I just think Ryan Garcia is one of these guys who wants to surround himself with a team that continually pats him on the back, continually lets him run his own camp, continually lets him stay in his comfort zone. And the fighters at that level need to be out of their comfort zone and have someone, and that's probably why Reynoso was probably so good for him. I understand that he didn't probably have the time that he wanted and all the rest of it, but I don't know. I'm just not quite sure there's going to be a trainer out there for him that's got the ability to get him where he wants to get to without the backslapping. It is a sign of the times we live in these days. Can you imagine Marvin Hagler back in the day surrounding himself with those types? I couldn't say it. They were just hard as nails, and I'm just not sure whether the fighters of these days have got that DNA about them where they want that criticism. So I don't know. To answer your question, who knows, mate? That's up to Garcia to decide whether he wants to have someone that's going to push him along and get him out of his comfort zone, or whether he just wants to plod along and run his own race and do what he wants. Because if he does that, he's going nowhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, I want to thank the whole panel for coming on. It's been a great show. That is the round table. See you guys next week on Ringside Reporter on Joby's channel. That is it. Enjoy the fights this weekend. Peace out, everybody.